Alright, welcome back to episode 34 of Your Questions, My Answers. This is segment 2, which is brought to you by Mark Neff over at cigarmoney.com, where you'll find luxury cigar accessories and apparel. And be sure to use coupon code SR2008 to save yourself 5% off your next order from Mark. With that, we're going to move on to question 4 from Paul via our contact form. And Paul writes in, he says, most premium to ultra premium manufacturers have some box press cigars in one of their lines. I'm not a big fan of the box press shape due to the fact that most I've smoked had burn issues. Not to mention the awkward feel on my hand. One benefit I found is that they tend to not to roll when I place one down on a flat surface. I would like to hear other people's preference and experience with box press stogies. So Walter, what's your experience with box press cigars?
At one point in time, I just hated them. I didn't like them, mostly because the draw always seemed to be very free. Because from what I understand, the cigars are underfilled to begin with, so that they can be pressed and formed into this odd shape. So I always used to experience just a very free draw, and I didn't like it, so I didn't smoke them. And then I started warming up to that more of a free draw and less resistance, and now I actually smoke quite a few of them. The ones I smoke most often are the Oliva Series G Maduros. I think all of them are box pressed in some way, shape, or form. And you know, like the 601 Maduro is box pressed. I like that cigar as well. And there's a handful of other box pressed cigars that I enjoy. I don't really run into any burn issues aside from, you know, sometimes they can be just too free as far as the draw is concerned. But, you know, I really haven't run into any major issues now that I've sort of warmed up to this looser draw. And being able to lay it down on an ashtray or something and not have it roll away is great too, or set it down on the side of the grill and not have to worry about it hitting the lawn. That's always a big plus. What about you, Brian? What do you think about box press cigars?
Well, you know, as a guy who goes out of his way to find unusual, quirky cigars, I'm kind of ambivalent to them. I understand the benefits of it not rolling around, but I don't know. That's not too much of an attraction for me. I don't dislike them. I just don't go out of my way to smoke them either. You know, I've had some and they're fun, and I got to agree with you on the underfilling. It's what they got to do to press it into that shape, and I've heard that as well from numerous sources that's the reason for that. And it's always a little concerning to me when I give them a little feel, and they're just notice that they can be a little on the soft side. Some of them I've had. I mean, they typically burn just fine, so it doesn't turn out to be any kind of an issue, but it just kind of, you know, makes me worry a little bit. They're interesting. I mean, they feel weird in your hand. Sometimes they feel good, sometimes they don't. I don't know, I don't really have a big draw to them or away from them, per se. I smoke they've got a box pressed Brasilia that I smoked, and I was thinking when I smoked it, somebody was telling me how different it was, and it's been a little while, but I remember smoking it thinking, well, it doesn't strike me as being quite that different. But you know, hey, I don't know. I only smoke the Brasilias occasionally, and I don't know. I think most of the cigars I smoke, yeah, they tend to be your more traditional round ones, you know, sometimes torpedoes, and then the wacky ones I get occasionally, but yeah, they typically tend to be round, so my experience with it is kind of, you know, it's been there, but it's not particularly noteworthy. What about you, Jerry?
I used to like them. I used to like the way they look in the humidor, and, you know, nice and neat and box pressed, but, you know, the more and more I smoked them, you know, I have a similar opinion that Paul does, where the burn is just kind of unpredictable, kind of, you know, just awkward on the burn, and maybe that has something to do with they're not as packed, fully packed as, you know, your more traditional cigars. But, you know, I used to like them, but, you know, now it annoys me whenever there's a whenever any cigar, whether it's box press or not, when any cigar just burns awkward or doesn't burn nice, or it takes 1,000 corrections to get it to burn straight. I just don't have the patience for it. I don't have the time for it, and life's too short to be relighting and touching up a cigar all day long. So and I just find it more common in box press cigars that I'm doing that relighting. I know the last box press cigar I had was the Romeo Julieta Habana Reserve, and like we said, it's a typical burn problem. It had a lot of touch-ups to it, and it was still a good tasting cigar. I still like it, but it was just annoyed the hell out of me that I had to keep touching it up and fixing up the burn problems. Anyone else have anything to add to Paul?
Yeah, come to think of it, the only box press cigars I really don't care for are the small ones, like the Padron 1964 Principes. The box press seems to be just too tight on those small cigars, and I always get cracks along the sharp edge. And I think when this cigar gets fairly small, that's when I start disliking them. I just run into more problems than not. But the larger box press cigars, I don't mind them one bit. Have either of you guys ever experienced problems with the smaller ring gauge box press being, I don't know, more frail in the corners and whatnot than the larger sizes, or is it just me?
It might be just you. I was just about to say that, when I'm dealing with the smaller ring gauged box press, I was going to do a correction, but I think they burn a little better than when your more traditional shape, like a torpedo shaped cigar or something like that. But usually, when the smaller the ring gauge for a box press, I usually find that it burns a little better for me. But I don't know. Does anybody know? Do you, Walt or Brian? Do you guys know if once you put them and store them in your humidor, do they ever lose their box press shape?
Yeah, they will eventually. Most notably around the foot, where you have the cut end, the exposed tobacco, they'll start to round out. And I would imagine that over months it'll start to round out throughout the length of the cigar. But it'll be most noticeable at the foot. If you turn it and just sort of look at the profile, you'll see it begin to round after it's been sitting a few weeks, maybe a month or two.
I've noticed quite a few of the the box press ones that are rounded, but I didn't really do a kind of a comparison as to when I bought it and when I smoke it. So you could be right on that. It makes sense to me, and I think that's why that the some of them, like the La Flor, was it the Pressandos, or what are they called? Anyway, the I don't know. Anyway, they're stored in a rack in such a way that they'll stay in that shape. So I'm thinking that eventually the tobacco is going to kind of round it out a little bit. And like I said, I have noticed a number of box pressed that aren't really sharp, but then it strikes me as a little unnatural for them to be incredibly sharp edged. So I don't know, but again, I just don't think I smoke that many box press. I don't avoid them. For whatever reason, I just don't seem to be smoking them. Maybe I need to look into that a little bit more, but it's not a big draw. It's just not a big draw for me.
All right, Paul. Well, there you got it. There's our opinion of our experience and our take on box press cigars, which not too much different than yours, and I think our opinions of it is pretty much what you're going to find common out there. Walt, why don't you lead us into our next question here from Patrick?
Sure. We got question 5 from Patrick, and this comes from the fan forums. And he says, "I've been smoking pretty steady for a few years now, and I thought I knew what I liked in a smoke, full, strong, and intense. Then my buddy hands me a smoke with a Habano wrapper on it. I love the taste of it. Since then, I've tried others with Habano wrappers, for example, the Nub Habano, the Grand Habano No. 3, and I love them all. My questions are, why do they call them Habano, other than marketing? And what are some other smokes that I can look for with this kind of wrapper and taste? Well, I'd love if you guys would do a YQMA on wrappers and what smokes are the benchmarks for each." So, Brian, why don't you kick us off on the Habano term and maybe give us some of your benchmark cigars for different wrappers?
Oh, I got thrown under the bus on the hard question. Oh man. Well, you mentioned the. um, well, you mentioned the Nub Habano. It just happens to be what I'm smoking right now. Yeah, it's a good tasting cigar. I mean, if you like this, you know, you should try the Siri V. It's going to be very much like that. In terms of the Habano term, I I think, you know, I think a little bit of that is marketing, but or a lot of that's going to be marketing. But I guess it's to designate that it's Cuban seed or something. You know, Habano being, you know, like Havana, you know, Cuba. um, I'm not sure beyond that why they discuss that. The Gran Habano I don't think it's the Corojo. Unless I'm wrong, it's the Corojo #3. Maybe that's the. I was thinking that was the Corojo one, but anyway, if I could be wrong. It's been a little while, and I always forget the numbers on that. But let me think. Let's get into the benchmarks for the different types of wrappers. Let's see here. First one that comes to mind is you know, if you're going for sun grown, maybe you should try the. And I don't know if I'd call these necessarily my benchmarks, but I'm just gonna grab out of the air the first cigar that kind of comes to mind when I talk about different wrappers. So so go in sun grown. I'd say try the Rocky Patel sun grown. Let's see. I guess if you go with the say like a Criollo, you could try the CAO Criollo, which is pretty popular, which I haven't smoked too many of. I'm not sure if I would say it's the benchmark for it, but I'm not really sure. Let's see. Boy, it's kind of a tough one. Cameroon. I've spoken with a few people about the best Cameroon wrapper out there, and a lot of people seem to think it's the La Aurora Preferidos is the best Cameroon out there. I smoked one; it was great, and actually the Nub Cameroon I thought was really good too. Let's see, Connecticut. Let me think here. Boy, Walt. I probably should say that one for Walt because he's big into Connecticut's right now. And I'm trying to remember what he always talks about smoking in terms of Connecticut's. I think he likes the Gran Habano Connecticut. Let's see. Let's see. What's the Perdomo one? It's. Oh yeah, there you go. The Reserve Champagne. I was actually thinking about the one that was really popular. It's Perdomo Habano. Is that right? Is that the one that I'm thinking of? That's also very popular. Oh, let's see. Yeah, speaking of, they came out with a Connecticut wrapper for that, which I thought was interesting, and I haven't tried it yet. Oh man, I'm gonna throw this over to Jerry and let him fill in the holes. I didn't give this question enough thought ahead of time. I need some help. Bail me out, Jerry.
Yeah, well, if you were looking for someone to bail you out, you're looking at the wrong person. But I could add a little bit to Walt's going to be bailing all of us out in a minute or two. But yeah, as far as benchmarks, like Brian said, I don't know. Consider what I'm going to name are the creme de la creme of for each wrapper. But they're just cigars that I enjoy. On a Connecticut front, I like the Vintage 99 Connecticut from Rocky Patel. If you're looking for a Sumatra type wrapper, I believe the Vintage 92 has a Sumatra wrapper on it, which is really good. I'm naming a lot of Rocky Patel cigars here. I'm going to name one more that Brian named as well, the Rocky Patel Sun Grown. That's just a wow cigar in my opinion. As far as Cameroon, you know, I've been digging I didn't really like it the first time. Well, I shouldn't say I didn't like it, but I thought it was okay. It was the Nub Cameroon. I thought that was okay, but as I smoked more and more of them here and there, you know, I think they're really smooth, really great cigar. Still the Nub Connecticut's my favorite, but the Cameroon's grown on me. I even got a box of the Cameroons here. As far as a Maduro cigar, Maduro wrapper, one of my all-time favorites, and it's a cigar that got me started on smoking cigars a lot, is the Partagas #8 Maduro. yeah, that's all I could think of. So we're gonna turn this over to Walt now, and Walt is gonna bail both Brian and I out and make us all look like idiots. Walt, take it away.
Yeah, I don't know about that. This is totally unscripted, so I'm unprepared too. Now, as far as the Habano designation, I've been told that it is it's designated for smuggled seeds, so it's your Cuban origin seeds grown elsewhere. Now, I don't know if that's true or not. It's just I've heard that from several people who seem to know their stuff, so to speak, and that's just the way I've been known to take it. Where Habano seed is a Cuban seed grown elsewhere. As far as the benchmark cigars for each type, now I don't remember whether it's a Corojo or a Criollo wrapper that's on a cigar, but Jim Cronin has a top shelf Signature Select black label that I think is fantastic, and I'm not sure which wrapper it has on it, whether it's a Corojo wrapper or Criollo binder or whatnot. But as far as other Corojo cigars, I really like the J. Fuego Gran Corojo number 7, I think, and the Camacho Corojo. As far as Maduro goes, I really enjoy the Oliva Serie G Maduros. Habanos, I like the Oliva Serie V. Sungrown, I'm actually getting down to the last couple. Is the last couple that I have left, or the El Titan de Bronze Redemptions. They have a sun-grown Habano wrapper on them, and these are very good as well. Now, again, these aren't benchmark cigars, or they aren't my top cigars in each different category, but they're ones that I enjoy. As far as Connecticut's go, I like the Grand Habano. I think it's the number 1. Is a Connecticut wrapped. I really enjoy the Nub Connecticut, although I don't really think that you necessarily taste the Connecticut wrapper too much on that cigar. I think you get a whole lot of filler and some sprinkles of Connecticut flavor throughout. I mean, I just think it tastes different than all the other Connecticut wrappers I've had. And I think the Rocky Patel Edge Light has a Connecticut wrapper on it, and I really enjoy those. As far as Cameroon goes, I like the Oliva Serie G Cameroon, but not quite as much as I like the H. Upmann Vintage Cameroon. I think those are very good cigars, but they're just a handful of cigars that I just thought of off the cuff. So anyone have a light bulb go off as I was talking there?
Well, yeah, actually, I was realizing, I was just going through, and Jerry mentioned the Sumatra. The Edge Sumatra is actually a very good smoke too. Let's see, and we didn't mention Brazilian wrappers, and I would say that the CEO Brasilia or the Donna Flor, which I'm not sure what the situation is with them, but they had some legal issues that was making it difficult to get those cigars in the States. So, but those are both pretty good Brazilian. Let's see. I had another thought that Perdomo. I think it's a Corojo, a Habano Corojo or something like that. Was the one I was thinking of. I always screw up the name because there's like 2 or 3 names in it. And that's not a bad smoke. A lot of people really enjoy that. I've smoked a few of them. I haven't gotten around to them as much. Let's see if I came up with any others. I like the Edge Light is a good recommendation. Oh, on the Nub Connecticut, I kind of agree with you. I think when I've smoked that, I get a more of a pronounced Connecticut flavor out of it initially, and then it kind of, I don't know, it kind of blends away into the filler as you go along. But yeah, to echo kind of what Jerry was saying with the nubs, I noticed that actually the more recent nubs that have been coming out have much better flavor to them than the original samples that I got my hands on, and I think it's because there may have been a real rush to get those out, and I think that the ones that are coming out now are a little less rushed, so they're really starting to shine, which might explain why Jerry was saying initially I wasn't kind of ambivalent to him. I was too when I had the first Cameroon, but I really enjoyed it. In fact, I enjoy the entire line now, whereas before I was a little kind of it was all right, nothing too exciting, but I'm kind of straying from it here. Let's see. Let me think. You know that I think that the CL3 that the Argonese is coming out with, actually the ML3 and the CL3 will both be very interesting smokes to have. One's the Corojo Ligero to the third power, and the other's Maduro Ligero to the third power. Those will be really. I think those will be really interesting smokes. I think people are going to like those, and I think that the CL3, especially for like a Corojo, and somebody who likes Corojo may really enjoy that. Well, I don't know. I think I extinguished all light bulbs that turned on in the process of you guys talking. Did you think of anything else, Jerry? Well, what kind of makes it tough? Sorry to jump in there. Well, what makes it tough is the cigar is a lot more than just the wrapper itself. I mean, the wrapper, in a lot of cases, contributes a great deal to the flavor, but it's blended with everything else in the cigar. So it's short of actually getting something like we discussed in the past, where you've got a bunch of kind of generic cigars with different wrappers on them, just for the sake of getting the flavor of the wrapper. Short of doing that, it's kind of difficult. I don't usually, when I'm smoking, separate the wrapper when I'm thinking about the cigar from the rest of the cigar. It's kind of a whole package to me. But yeah, some of the ones that I mentioned really stand out when I'm thinking about a specific type of cigar I'm looking for. But all right, did you have anything else you want to say, Walt, before I rudely interrupted?
No, I'm good. I think we covered an awful lot of cigars, and there weren't any additions that came to mind.
All right. Well, there you go. There, Patrick. Thanks for using the fan forum. I need to get to the fan forum more often. I always forget to check it out, but it's always fun when I do. So I got to make a mental note to check it out at least once a day. We're gonna move to a little small talk here section here, but I want to talk to Brian Hewitt for a second here about the Nub event he went to, and he posted it on his Brian's Random Thoughts blog about he got to roll his own cigars there on Walt's handmade table, and I want to know when we're gonna see the Nub Gummy come out, the gummy cigar. Because I really like one just to have and show off to people. At least I know the person who made it. So how did that cigar rolling experience go for you there?
Well, it was a really interesting experience. I wish I would have had the presence of mind to grab those and have those on hand. Maybe when you guys are talking, I'll go grab them and show them on camera. I rolled only one, but Sam actually gave me a special nub creation that he made there. But it's a lot more difficult than it looks. It really is. I mean, you look at it and you think, oh, it's a lot of hand pressure, and it looks deceptively simple when you're actually doing it, getting the angles on the cigar to roll. And we're talking not about me, creating the bunch and all that stuff. We're just talking about applying the wrapper around to an almost finished cigar. So So you have to get the right angles, you have to put the glue in the right place, you have to keep the right tension on the leaf to keep it from twisting, or kind of doing some sort of an accordion thing. It's actually difficult. It requires a dexterity that you're only going to get with a lot of practice, and I think certain muscles in your hands that the only people that in the world that have them are cigar rollers or chronic masturbators. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, well I'd like to apologize now to all the cigar rollers out there. I meant nothing by that. Anyway, no, but it's difficult, and the problem I had, why I called it the gummy bear, is Sam at one point when I was applying starting to get ready to apply the cap, at the end of the wrapper when it comes up to the head, he says, oh yeah, pretty liberally get some of the pectin glue on your, apply it to the wrapper. So I just dunked my fingers into that thing, and they came out with like they look like little flames of gooey pectin, and the whole end of the cigar got really gooey, and it looked like I actually had it in my mouth for about 45 minutes or something like that. So, when we were trying to put it on and try to put the little cap on top, for the triple cap, it was kind of sliding around and, oozing all over the place. So it dried out, and I looked at it actually just a little bit earlier today, and it looks a little rough, but it doesn't look bad. It does resemble a cigar, but yeah, I don't think I'll be stealing anybody's job at cigar rolling. But I got to say, it's fun to watch. It's a lot of fun to actually try your hand at it, but it's frustrating. But what evens out the frustration is watching somebody like Sam who's been doing this, who really knows how to do it and can make crazy stuff like pipes and hockey stick cigars. Watching him scratching and clawing at his face while you just make a frickin' dog's breakfast out of a good set of leaves. So it was a lot of fun.
So, Walt, does Brian's experience sound familiar to you?
Well, there was a bit of a difference between our two experiences. Mine, what happened was we were at this event, and Sam just goes, "Okay, we're going to have a contest to roll some cigars. Who's going to volunteer?" And I stepped forward. I wanted to give it a try, and so Sam demonstrated, and then all three of us got to roll our cigar with no help from Sam whatsoever. So it was 100% all natural us rolling these cigars, and they just came out well. One of the guy made a very nice looking cigar. The guy came in second place, made a decent looking cigar. Mine was just horrendous. I was last.
The guy who made the decent cigar must have, in Brian Hewitt's opinion, must have been a chronic masturbator then.
I never thought to ask, but it is so much harder than it looks. I mean, to get all the angles right and the tension, it's very difficult. And then you have to cut the leaf to the right shape, and there's a lot to it. It's amazing how much work goes into it. And you would never know until you actually sat down and tried it, because when you're watching someone like Sam roll cigars, he's doing it fairly quickly. He makes it look like it's very simple, and then I don't know. You get a taste of reality when you sit down and give it a try.
Well, I stepped away for a second, so I caught something about chronic masturbation, but that was about it. So I'm going to hope that you guys didn't say anything really unusually vicious toward me while I was gone. But I did produce the Gummy Bear, which actually kind of looks like a pretty decent cigar now that I'm looking at it. The Cat, yeah, it's kind of got maybe a little bit of that gangster tilt to it, off to the side a little bit, but it's not bad. The one thing that we had a problem with is the cutter for chopping off the stuff at the end of the cigar. I don't know what to call it, but cutter. It was a little dull, so the end of the cigar looks really beat up, and that's actually not my fault, but it contributes to the novice look of it. The other one is the nub triple Tres Capus three wrappered. God, I'm really stumbling over my words today, aren't I? Tres Capus nub, basically. And what I think he did is he snagged a Candela from somewhere, and I know that he grabbed a wrapper off of what is it? The Flor de Oliva Maduro. He grabbed those. And I think he mixed it with the Habano wrapper that he was rolling at the time. So what we got here is probably one of the few Tres Capus nubs out there. So I don't know when I'm going to smoke that, but it looks pretty cool. So anyway, I thought that would be kind of fun to show people who are watching little cigar porn. So anyway, guys, back to you and the chronic masturbation.
Chronic masturbation. He's talking to you, Walt. You're the expert. All right, who's got silence? Awkward silence. Moving on. Who's got another topic we could discuss?
Actually, I do. I was looking through some of the email that I've been so negligent about actually checking. Walt went on a streak of responding to every email ever sent to Stogie Review in the past 5 years, and I responded to one or two of them, and I just ran out of time. But somebody was talking about short smokes, commuter smokes, and that's actually something that I know a little bit about, because for a while I had a really short commute that was difficult to get a decent smoke in on. And I think one of the ones we mentioned was the Villager Export Maduros, and I'm showing these now. And they're a great little smoke for commutes. They got a big enough ring gauge that they don't completely fall apart by the time you're halfway through them, like a lot of the really small ones do. And the nice thing about them is they're dry cured, so you just throw these in your car, or you throw them on your desk at work or wherever, and you don't really have to worry about keeping them humidified. Another one that I actually picked up, and I think it was some sort of cigar bid thing, or I don't know where I got them, but these little tins of Romeo y Julieta 1875s. I actually found that these are really surprisingly good little smokes. They're little torpedo, little mini torpedoes, and they're not bad. They're really not too bad at all. Let me pull one of these out so people can get a better idea of what they look like. Yeah, lots of glare there, but I think people will get a pretty good idea. I think those are both very, very nice little smokes. Of course, as Walt would probably bring up, and I'm not going to let him. Yeah, the little special G's, the little Oliva special G's, or what are they, Series G special G or something like that. Those are great, the little Perfecto ones. I noticed also in a shop I was at that Rocky Patel has come out with little petite figurados that would also fall in that category. I don't know what the price range is, but it looks intriguing there. The vintage 90 and 92, I think he's doing both of those in. And they're not the easiest to find, but for that guy who's asking about the little smokes, those are some good ones to try. The ones I'd steer away from, steer clear of the really, really tiny cigars. I just have not found hardly any of them that are very good. The really, really small ring gauge, we're talking like sub 30 type of thing. The one that I did find that I actually liked a lot was, I think it's unfortunately discontinued, the CAO Extreme. That had a delicious flavor for such a tiny cigar. But the funny thing is the newer CAOs with they come in a tin these days are just, I'm having draw issues with them, and they're just not turning out to be that good. So that's pretty much all I've got. What about you guys?
Well, Oliva makes the O's in a tin. I think they also make the G's in a tin. I've had the O's, and they taste just like the larger cigars. They're very nice. I don't remember seeing the Maduro, but I did have a tin of the Naturals. Aside from that, I really don't get into a lot of the smaller cigars. Now, I really want to try the Villager Export Maduros, or their dry cured cigars, as you mentioned, and looking online, I mean, I can buy 50 of them, but I don't want to buy 50 to try. You know, that's a big brick of cigars to turn around and not like. So I might have to do a little bartering to get a hold of some. Aside from that, the Special G is a decent cigar. For whatever reason, they tend to burn hot for me, so I don't like to smoke them as often as I could for a short commute. But the one cigar that I smoke a lot in my car is the Nub Connecticut 358s. I just have, the bands are everywhere, and underneath the faceplate for my radio, I have a double din with a spare slot underneath, and they're just like packed in there. They last a little while, so they're not exactly a short commute smoke, but those are the ones I typically grab more often than not when I hop in the car and go somewhere. But what about you, Jerry? Have you smoked anything small that's worth talking about?
I don't really smoke too many of the cigars in the tin. They like you were saying, they always burn a little too hot for me and not very enjoyable. The one smaller cigar that I do smoke a lot of is the Punch London Club Maduro. It's a 5x40 cigar. That always seems to, whenever I don't have a time to take a full hour and a half, 2 hour lunch break at Signature or wherever, if I just got to go out front and light something up real quick, the Punch London Club usually does a trick. I did try the Villager when I was in Boston, and I think it's one of those things that is probably an acquired taste, in my opinion. I mean, it was good. I thought it was good. It just, something was a little different about it that just didn't sit right in my mouth, and just a little something I had to probably get used to. But I think it had to be may have been the texture of the cigar or something that just kind of threw me off. But yeah, I'm not a real big on a small or shorter cigar. Well, I brought up something, you brought up something, so now it's Walter's turn to bring up something for us to small talk about.
I thought I was the only one that was allowed to throw people under the bus and come out with these oddball questions, but now obviously we're all going to IPCPR, and it's like beating a dead horse. We keep talking about it, but it is exciting to go to this huge event. It'll be my first time out. I'm really looking forward to it. But anyone want to go to one particular booth that they just they can't wait to get their hands on a new cigar? I know for me, and I mentioned to both of you guys that I think that I smoked the CAO LX2. Now I met Tim Ozinger at Cigar Fest, and we got to talking a little bit, and he sent me some cigars that were unbanded, and there were just some rating sheets to go along and send them back to CAO, and one of the samples was okay, another one I really didn't like at all, and two of them were very good. One was much better than the other, but after having smoked what I think is the new LX2, I'm pretty interested in getting out there and getting my hands on it. Now, aside from that, I keep hearing great things about the Alec Bradley Tempest. I still haven't been able to get a hold of some. I think I'm just going to wait until the show to try one. I mean, I don't want to order them and then try them and then get to the show and lose all that excitement. But, those are just two cigars that I'm really looking forward to trying. Either of you guys looking forward to trying anything in particular at the show, or is there anything that's just really enticing you?
I mean, it's gonna be mine your first time at IPCPR, and I'm just excited to go. I mean, I love Vegas. Vegas is a great cigar smoking town. I'm just excited to be there. I'm excited to meet people like Don Pepin and Rocky Patel. People other people that you guys have met that I haven't met yet. But I'm just excited to go. My goal is to try to see how many people I get on camera to do daps with me, the little fist pound on camera with me. So that's my little thing. But yeah, I'm just overall just really excited to go, and I feel like a little teenage girl at a Motley Crue concert, and or something. Yeah, it's just very exciting for me. I'm really looking forward to it. What about you, Brian?
Brian, you mentioned the rumor about the V Maduro, and I think I actually may have started that one. Now, and I didn't start it intentionally. Now, a while back when the V first came out, I was gathering some information on the Oliva site, and I noticed that there was a V Maduro listed, and I posted on Cigar Live in the Oliva section asking about the cigar, and shortly after it got removed from the website, and I was told it was a mistake, that the web designer put it there and it didn't belong there. And I was told by a couple of people from Oliva that there just wasn't a V Maduro. So I really don't know if they're coming out with one. I couldn't say either way, but I think I may have had my hand in spreading that rumor initially by posting over on Cigar Live that I saw it on the website. And as far as the nub goes, I would love to see a new nub come out. I don't think it makes sense for Sam to come out with a new nub. And the only reason I say that is because the line was just launched in April. If he were to come out with a new cigar in July already, I think that might be pushing it a little bit, because they're still behind on orders. There's a lot of people that are saying that they're struggling to get the cigars in, and that's because there was so much of a push behind the line that there was just such a high demand that they're having trouble keeping up with it. So realistically, I just do not see another one coming out. But I may be eating my words in 2 weeks when I show up at the nub booth and Sam's waving around the new nub, whatever, Maduro or whatever he may come out with. But just to me, it doesn't make sense to see another nub so soon. I mean, not with the launch being April 1st and all. I can't think of any manufacturer that I would expect to come out with a new cigar that I haven't heard anything of yet. Yeah, I'm sure there's some out there, and there's been a lot of buzz going around about these new cigars. Some of them we've even got to try. as you mentioned, Brian, you've got to try the new Arganese cigar. The I'll Tighten the Bronze Redemption I got to try before it came out. It's due to go into circulation at IPCPR. The same goes with the J. Fuego Delirium, which is also supposed to be circulated at IPCPR, which is available at I think it may be available at a couple of shops. Same thing with the Alec Bradley Tempest. They started doing launch events already, from what I understand. Those are available now. And they're supposed to be Alec Bradley's big hit at the show. Pete Johnson's got a new cigar that's available now that's supposed to be out at the show as well. I can't think of the name of it. I can think of the name of it, I just can't pronounce it. And yeah, so I think that most of the stuff we're going to see at the show isn't going to be a total surprise. I think we're all going to have heard about something here and there. And I also read something about a Rocky Patel summer blend. I don't know whether that's going to be at the show or whether that's just talk or what, but I haven't read anything on it. I've just seen talk about the summer blend that he's coming out with.
I know Carlos in New Jersey was telling me he was at a Rocky Patel event earlier last month or late last month, and it was there, and he said he was talking to Rocky, and Rocky said it's only being distributed to limited cigar shots, but it'll be interesting to see if it's there. He's supposed to be doing a whole line of seasonal blends, whether the summer, fall, winter, that whole type thing, kind of like what Partagas does with their Cifuentes blend.
Well, that's what I was just going to say. Do you think it's going to be a hit? I know that the Partagas stuff isn't very popular, at least not from what I've seen. I know it's out there. They have different blends for each month, but I just don't see them anywhere, and I don't ever hear anyone talk about it. Do you think that a seasonal blend is going to be a hit? I know it's big with like breweries and stuff like that. They do very well with it, so it makes sense. I mean, I can see it taking off, but I don't know. What do you think? Do you think it's going to go anywhere?
Yeah, probably not. I mean, it's probably going to be like the Partagas Cifuentes blend. When it first came out, it was great, and then they took like a long production break because they came out with like a fall blend, but then there was no winter, there was no summer or no spring, and then like a whole year went by, and then they took on a summer blend. So I think they kind of lost any kind of momentum they had waiting so long to release another seasonal blend. So I mean, if Rocky can do it where it actually matches the actual season, it could work. But I think it's one of those things that might only work for breweries. I don't know. I agree with you there. It's a good point. All right. Anyone got anything else?
No, I haven't, but I heard about the smoking ban that hit Pennsylvania. There's several exemptions in this ban, but Pennsylvania has a smoking ban. You're allowed to smoke in cigar bars. You can smoke in a bar as long as 20%, or as long as their food income is under 20% of their total revenue, or things like that. And there are several exemptions, but it is. I think it's just a foot in the door, and it's only going to get more restrictive as time goes by. But no, I haven't heard anything about the Netherlands. You'll need to fill me in on that.
I agree full-heartedly with Brian Hewitt. Brian Hewitt is emotionally said it better than any of us could say it. He had more emotion. He had more emotion in it than I could ever draw up about the subject. So, and we found. So, Brian, do you want to tell us how you really feel about the subject? little throbbing vein going on that he gets when he chronically masturbates as well.
Now, I can't wait to edit this video so I can see that vein popping out on Brian's head as he's, he's going through this.
Awesome. Alright, so I don't have anything else. Does anybody else? So Brian, you want to go ahead and take us out from episode 34?
Hey Walt, how you doing? It's James Elam, the winner of the Jameson Cigar Petite Corona box. Calling in, I got the box today, and I couldn't help but light one up right out of the box. Opened up the packaging, inspected the cigars, very nicely packed. A great-looking cigar. The wrapper, good quality. The construction looks phenomenal. Lit it up, good even burn, good solid flavors. And, you know, I can really see this being an everyday smoke of mine. I got 25. I'm enjoying one of those 25 right now. I'm going to let them settle in the humidor another couple weeks and then do a serious review. And I'll write that up, and perhaps you could feature that on your website if it's of the right quality. But I will try to be getting that up in a couple weeks after I let them age and settle in my humidor for a little bit. Not age, but settle, you know, get accustomed to the right humidity that I like to smoke them. But I mean, right out of the box, and the burn line is, you know, good. Kind of a thick black, but you know, still acceptable. It's in the acceptable levels. You know, it's staying pretty straight. A little waviness. I presume that's from, you know, being in shipping, and there is no humipack or anything in there. So so the humidity of the cigar is probably a little bit off. But other than that, I mean, the taste really solid. I like the size. It's a good everyday size. You know, it's not going to take too long to smoke. It's not too cumbersome. It's going to be quite enjoyable. So like I said, in a couple weeks, I'll get back to you with a full written review, or I might even do a video, perhaps. Just stay in touch with me. You have my email address. And, you know, maybe we can work something out as a guest video review if you would be interested in something like that. I know I would be interested in doing one. Anyway, thanks again for the contest. And, I mean, this is a great cigar, so I'm really enjoying it. So, thank you. Have a great day, Walt.
Well, at least you're going to have footage for all the chronic masturbators.